It's Monday, so let's work with some snacking cake for the week. Today we have a lemon blueberry coffee cake, and we're using some homemade lemon extract. First, we're working on our dry ingredients, so I have some flour, baking powder, baking soda, and some salt. And then in a separate bowl, I have some sugar and the zest of 2 lemons. And then using my fingertips, I'm going to be rubbing the sugar and the lemon zest together. And I like to do this for a few minutes until it resembles a wet sand. Next, we have some butter that we're going to be adding in. And I'm going to get this mixed together for a few minutes. I then have 2 room temperature eggs, and then some of our lemon extract. Next, I'm going to be adding in some room temperature Greek yogurt, and then we're going to be juicing up 1 lemon. At this point, I'm now going to add the dry ingredients to the wet, and I'm going to mix this together. So before I add the blueberries to the cake batter, we're going to set this aside and start working on the topping for our cake. So in a medium bowl, I have some brown sugar, flour, some cinnamon, and I'm also going to be zesting in 1 lemon. And then I'll be cutting up 6 tablespoons of cold butter. And then I'm going to start getting this incorporated with a fork at first. And then I'm just using my hands to get this mixed up, but you can also use a food processor if you would like. But once we're able to clump them together like this, we know that it's ready. Now we're going to get our cake ready to bake. So first I'm going to be adding in a little bit of the batter without the blueberries to the pan. Then I read on Serious Eats that if you take the blueberries and add it to the remaining batter, this will help ensure that the blueberries don't sink to the bottom once it's fully baked. And then finally, I'll sprinkle on the topping. With my oven set to 350, this is ready to get baked. So I had the cake in the oven for about 40 minutes, but of course just use a cake tester as you're baking it. It smells amazing, it reminds me of blueberry pie, but it's still really warm, so we're going to let it continue cooling for a little bit longer. So at this point you can just top the cake with powdered sugar if you want, but I'm going to be grinding up some freeze-dried blueberries. I'll then get the blueberries added to my sifter. Usually I'm really happy with the cake. We can see the blueberries didn't sink to the bottom, which is great. And now for the best part, I get to eat a slice. So because of how we incorporated the blueberry, I'm able to get bites of it throughout the entire cake, which is nice. Eating this warm is definitely the way to go, and I love how crunchy the topping is. And of course with lemon and blueberry, you can't ever go wrong. It's probably one of my favorite combinations. I'm excited to eat more of this throughout the week, and I'll be sure to have the ingredients in the caption, the full recipe in my newsletter soon, and I can't wait to do another snacking cake next Monday.